YouTube is a very, very big hub. We can't label every single YouTuber under one umbrella term because there are a lot of different branches of content on the platform. So, where would we even start this? Well, why not at the top?
Lucy C larginally, Dominic C sparginally, Lucy sensitivity.
MrBeast has become YouTube's largest content creator and has become popular through his high-cost videos, where if you perform this, or if you're the last to do this, or some other variation of those, then you win either money or something that costs a lot. On the surface, it may seem impossible to recuperate financially from this, but if you go back in his upload history, you'll notice that his prize pool has gradually increased in value. What started at 5-figure sums has risen to 6 and even 7 digits over the years. This type of content is essentially a positive feedback loop, since the money he earns goes back into making more content, which in turn makes more and allows him to expand into different avenues of revenues, each creating their own feedback loops. This cycle is reinforced by his work ethic and his dedication to his brand. But this type of growth isn't just limited to MrBeast. Every YouTuber that you know with a sizable audience eventually undergoes this process. To demonstrate this, look back on the content that your favorite creator was making 6 to 7 years ago. Chances are, video and audio qualities have improved drastically, editing has become cleaner and more nuanced, the person may seem more comfortable on camera, and so on. The difference between old and new content can be quite jarring, as YouTube channels have evolved from one person making content in their bedroom to damn near whole production teams. This evolution stems from the same process MrBeast displays through his content, but on a different magnitude. Whereas MrBeast gives away large sums of money, many YouTubers spend their money on quote, upgrading their content. That's not to say that MrBeast's videos haven't seen noticeable improvements in quality, nor am I saying that other YouTubers aren't charitable people. In fact, those statements couldn't be farther from the truth. What I am saying though, is that the word upgrade means different things to different YouTubers. How a YouTuber engages in the so-called MrBeast cycle depends on their personality and their self-esteem. A creator who holds himself highly, or has a higher self-esteem, may feel less intimidated by the prospect of branching out into novel types of content, or they may feel more inclined to participate in collabs. Generally, there are two different interpretations of self-esteem that we can apply to creators. For a small, yet vocal contingent, the money that they earn translates into personal wealth, or wealth that they fully spend upon themselves. After all, money is an external mechanism of motivation. That's a funny way of saying that people like to get paid. And when YouTubers like to get paid more than making videos, they begin to neglect their fans. The people that put them where they are become secondary to the physical manifestations of their money. We could start throwing around names here, but the one thing all these people have in common is that they clearly exhibit the dark triad traits, or the negative personality traits that are associated with the inflated self-esteem. Narcissism results from the feeling of entitlement, or the feeling that one is superior to them around them, and as such, deserves much better than others. These creators often end up creating content centered around their extravagant lifestyle, constantly flaunting their wealth over their audience. YouTubers who constantly flex their wealth tend to retain a bad reputation, because nobody wants to watch an entitled manchild talk about the amount of money they make.
Flexing, for those of you
This
those
guy
of
a
you who
bitch
aren't
too,
12,
bro!
is when the money is thrown in the face of the viewer. Look how much money I have that you don't.
Dumb people are always blissfully unaware of how dumb they really are.
Narcissists also become aggressive when the quote, haters talk to them, since they only like to associate with people that suck their tiny dicks. With people that reinforce their narcissism. Psychopathy is an express disregard for the well-being of others. In many ways, it is similar to narcissism, except while narcissists seek attention as a source of validation, psychopaths don't use attention to approve of their actions. They feel no remorse or cannot empathize with others, so they often use other people to reach their own personal goals.
And she kind of took me on with the thought that she could fix me, and I commend her for that, but at the same time, everyone did warn her.
And finally, Machiavellianism is the use of lying and cheating as a way of gaining trust, and this was first described by Niccolò Machiavelli. Fun fact, the principles of Machiavellianism were outlined in The Prince, and in this book, one part directly tells men when you, quote, take away another person's women, you force them to endure a setback in lifestyle, or you force them to become better people when they do not wish to be.
Women don't respect men with no hose.
This guy was really a pioneer. Machiavellianists will do whatever, no matter the morality of the situation, to, quote, gain power, but in the context of YouTube, it's often to gain more money or more clout. Almost every shitty apology video has resulted from someone trying to manipulate the truth to their audience, which are clear signs of this phenomena. And these YouTubers' failures to convey their sympathy to their fans further emphasizes the other negative personality traits. So in nature, all three of these concepts are related to one another, and all three are expressed by YouTubers who show disregard for making enjoyable content. Interestingly, people who exhibit dark triadic traits almost always leave a great first impression through their superficial confidence, charm, and charisma, which may explain how their careers take off in the first place. However, when their true motivations prevail, they often discourage almost anybody from watching them. Fortunately, these creators are limited in number, and only seem to be dominating the platform because they muster up the most drama. A majority of people on here are nicer people who started YouTube as either a hobby or a side project that they want to share with other people. These creators exhibit the light triadic traits, or the positive personality traits that are associated with a healthy self-esteem. Humanism values the strength of people as individuals by focusing on the positive aspect of humans. YouTubers who are humanistic tend to care more for their fans and enjoy interacting with both fans and different content creators. Faith in humanity is more broad, encompassing the collective effort of all humans as a whole. This trait gives people optimism that positive change will one day occur, even when the reality of the situation says otherwise.
That's ultimately what YouTube's about, is supporting creators and growing creators.
Kantianism dictates that manipulation of people is unjust, and respect should be showed to others instead. It's basically the opposite of Machiavellianism, since it embraces honesty and hates lying. Again, it would be a disservice to the YouTube community to name just a few people here, since there are many people that could fit this definition. But as a general trend, creators who exhibit these traits are more motivated by the satisfaction of uploading, rather than the money they receive from said upload. They're generally more transparent and selfless, and they're able to accept feedback and criticism without throwing a fit or rage. In a way, their motivation is a whole other variation of the MrBeast cycle. Each video they upload brings about a sense of pride and passion, which motivates them to continue uploading. Money, at that point, may still be a reason to continue, as most YouTubers are full-time content creators that need to upload to pay their bills and to, fuel their Pokemon card addiction.
Is that hollow? Tell me it's hollow. Danny, tell me it's hollow.
It is hollow.
But their primary motives are internal. They're more self-fulfilled and selfless than their dark triad counterparts. However, there's one small thing that every single YouTuber will eventually come to grips with. And that little thing is called burnout.
I don't think I ever experienced that before, but it was clear as day. I was exhausted. And I mean, I'm a human, I think.
I'm just going to take a little break and just get my mentality back, because it's also a case of I don't want to get burnt out on doing this.
But it was the most significant, the stress got me worse than it ever has.
With a job like YouTube, where people expect uploads at a regular pace, creators will eventually feel too worked up to maintain high levels of productivity. It's only natural that they feel excessive stress from working too hard. Diving deeper into this, we can refer to Maslach's theory of burnout, which finds that it results from three similar stress factors. Emotional exhaustion is a fancy way of saying fatigue. People will get tired of looking at their work after some time. Even if they love what they're doing, weariness will eventually set in, and as a result, creators will feel less motivated to work on videos.
If you do anything you love, or if you do anything too often, even the stuff that you love, eventually it'll get to you. And I think it's good to just let me reassess and let me breathe a small bit.
Reduced personal accomplishment refers to a type of coping mechanism that causes you to doubt your value to others. This is something you often feel when you first start uploading content, as you truly can't understand how your content is being perceived by your limited audience. But this feeling comes back around with the onset of burnout. YouTubers will often feel a lack of control and a sense of hopelessness over the future of their channel, which may unfortunately be a driving factor for some to leave unexpectedly or outright quit. And the third aspect is depersonalization, which is the growing sense of indifference towards their work and towards others as a channel starts to stagger off in growth. Those experiencing this form of cynicism may feel less inclined to participate in collabs with other people out of indifference and carelessness rather than fear and social anxiety. Sadly, YouTube itself does little to accommodate these elements of burnout. On the contrary, they seem to add stress to creators' lives with false copyright claims, issues with payout, and other bullshit problems. The platform also encourages continuous uploads, which by itself isn't a bad thing. Yet by punishing creators who do not consistently upload with less time in the algorithmic spotlight, this builds a very unhealthy relationship between the creator and the platform. But in reality, burnout doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. The worst response to feeling burnt out is trying to work through it, by telling yourself that you can just push through without anything bad happening. This will only make things worse. If you personally ever feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, just know that it's okay to take a break. You shouldn't feel guilty or be ashamed of it, because I can almost guarantee that if you don't take a break, there's a lot more at stake in regards to mental health. A break isn't just an excuse to pawn off your responsibilities, but instead it should be a time of rejuvenation and mindfulness, a time where you appreciate yourself for the work you've put in. Oftentimes, subscribers are appreciative of YouTubers who announce that they're stepping away from the platform for personal reasons, because it demonstrates care for the channel. Regardless of whether you're big, small, or not even a content creator at all, burnout is a serious problem that you need to take into account. YouTube is a very, very big place. The nature of this platform is very hard to generalize. Even though the dark and light triadic groups are a good summary, they probably don't apply to everyone, as creators from all different walks of life come onto the platform for one reason or another. But these groupings can serve as a way of identifying clashing ideologies on YouTube. So with that, I'll leave you with one last psychological tidbit. Change. Change takes place all the time around us, in ways that we don't even recognize or are not immediately impactful to us. Most of the time, we tend to notice change on an individualistic, communal, and societal level. It's important to recognize that everyone changes and evolves all the time. Believe it or not, creators are humans too, and creators tend to want to change in according to the type of content that they want to make. This may be disheartening to some fans who expect to see one type of content on a channel. I think it's important to keep an open mind and be accepting of change on YouTube, especially on YouTube, where creators can rise in popularity and die off within the blink of an eye. But anyways, I hope you learned something from today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.